fan of fintech, and actually, something I saw was Revolut there, and I'm talking here about some community marketing insights that I saw coming straight from the marketing director over at Revolut. Just for anyone who's not aware of what Revolut is, they're basically you're a no bricks and mortar bank. You do no longer need to have a branch. You just have an app. You can trade currencies on it. You can have a physical card, and you can have a digital card, which basically is disposable. Loads of features that basically revolutionizes the financial services sector for no longer having to go to your local branch manager and bank. And it's just been growing and growing. I think it just launched in the US earlier in the year. So it's something that's growing as an attractive, and actually I think will be something that people will move to. Imagine again, go back to that 16-year-old when you're first opening your first bank account. Are you going to go to Lloyd's, Barclays, whoever? You could well go to Revolut straight away. And actually, so the bit I wanted to talk about on here, I'm just going to bring this post up for us to look at. So this was a post from Chad West, the marketing and comms director over at Revolut. And I thought it was really nice that they were actually bothering to share a lot of their approach around how they have approached banking and developing products through community marketing. And that's what I wanted to discuss with you, Vin. So you've had a chance to read this, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I think so. So for me, I mean, this is something that banks just don't do. Banks spend a lot of money researching. They have a lot of analytics in the back end anyway. And I actually know someone who does machine learning around credit card transactions in order to understand people's spending habits, etc. So banks spend a lot of money trying to understand their customer for the small margins that they make on these accounts. Whereas Revolut have clearly taken this different approach to having a much more, and they said here, craft a human friendly and transparent tone of voice. That's normal sort of jargon for basically saying we want to sell you something without telling you that we're selling you something. But what they do have is these regular meetups for your customers, show them what's coming up and ask for them for their feedback. And I think this is a much better shift in terms of engaging with your audiences, your community, and doing marketing than has ever been done before. We've all heard of hackathons. They're pretty regular in the sort of the tech world, but this is much more around showcasing your products in a really friendly way with your customers that doesn't feel like a bank is trying to sell you something at the same time. And I think Vin, I'm pretty right in saying, and from my experience anyway, letting customers see your product roadmap, that is something that's fairly rare. You usually keep that quite locked down. You don't really want to you don't want to set expectations in the wrong place, so you generally keep this down. But obviously they want to let them help you prioritize what they build and what they name things. Now that just doesn't happen in banking the way it works right now, or many other industries at the moment. And the next thing here that obviously features into the marketing bit, which is what we're talking about, ask your customers what they want to learn about in your industry and apply to your content or social strategy. So really there's this real huge outreach, and I think this is a real shift. There's been a few companies sort of doing this, but it's not a very common practice. I wonder
This
your thoughts.
but this here is, I love it. I'm a big fan of the non-dinosaur bank. Both my business and my personal stuff runs through Starling. I have a Revolut card because of their crypto stuff and things like that. But the first thing we've got to consider here is these guys do not see their customers face to face every day. It's kind of like what we're doing in isolation. It's going to be over a chat. It's going to be over an email, all that kind of stuff. So they have to show some sort of transparency and build trust in another way. And that's building trust online, which is kind of what we do as digital marketers. Is that like, if I'm selling a product, you don't see me, but you need to know I'm pretty cool, or I'm trusting, or I'm transparent and all that. And what they've done here is, especially the roadmap, and especially the asking us to name products and brand products, is something that we do in content marketing with community building. And that's to make your customers and your fans and all that feel like they're a part of it. Because once they are, and they've contributed, and they see something that they've contributed to grow, they become like vicious dogs in the protection of that brand. They become loyal. I'll give you an example. All right. We worked on a campaign a few years ago on a very low budget film that was made around motorbike racing, and wasn't very good. Uh, very interesting. But what we did was we had to build this community on Facebook pages back in the day when you used to do these individual pages for films and
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
And we'd been told that a certain celebrity was going to narrate this documentary, but we decided to make the content to like ask the users like, who would you like,
Hmm.
to narrate this? And we weren't lying to them. We were given, we knew they would choose this narrator because the narrator is perfect, but we gave them a few other options around a couple of red herrings and they chose. And there was little things like that so that they kind of, I mean, the film's been made,
They,
I mean,
they owned it, right? There is, yeah, it became much more.
they get a piece of it. They're behind it. It's
They're
also
invested.
part of interest they have. Later on, I used to do community management for this. When this was eventually going into Blu-ray release, so we'd done the theater stuff. Now we're going into home entertainment. When we did the Blu-ray, I did not have to do a bit of community management because the minute somebody came on there and said the film was bad or these racists don't know anything, that community tore that person apart. And as well as I do, as a social media community manager, you've got to bite your tongue sometimes, because you've got to look professional. These guys destroyed anyone. So going back to this is what they're doing. They are building a community because that community is now feeling that they are part of it. And a lot of these online banks truly are. It's not just, we keep using this word lip service. They're not just doing it for the sake of it. They want to hear from people. They want to know what frustrates them. If you look at the ads that come out of the likes of Barclays or HSBC, they do a full ad campaign because you can now freeze your card in their app. And you're like, well done.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys are doing stuff. I get notifications on my Starling like, hey, we rolled this out last night. Give it a go. Or
Yep.
here's a word from our CEO, like
Straight
Irish
from the app.
name escapes me, but yeah, it's all there. My preferred method of customer service is chat.
Yep.
So it's all there, but I can hop on a phone call if I want. But it's just, these guys have got limited resources to get in touch with their community and they want their community to be tight. And I can tell you Starling as well, and probably Revolut, these are the ones that get spoken about a lot because
Hmm.
people support them. I'm massive supporter of Starling. They've launched in Ireland recently. I told my network in Ireland, get involved, sign up. So hopefully I'll get commission for that. I don't know. But yeah, going back to it, being transparent on your roadmap, telling people what you're doing. As you know, Red, I'm trying to rebuild my community over on Mighty Networks right now. And everything I share is how I've done something.
Yeah.
So you see this cool picture and it does this. Here's how I did it. Why hold back? It's you're sharing, your trust is like this person gives. And this also taps in, again, this might be a separate conversation, is one of the common conversations I have with clients or when I'm training is the algorithm, right? How do you beat the algorithm on any channel? And the simple answer is, and I think I've said this in a tweet, is to just give, then
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And there's a lot of people who swear by this. Just give stuff. Like it's the same with like when you've got an idea, put your idea online, share stuff. You would be amazed at what comes back. And whoever wrote this, if this was this person's PR person, content manager wrote it for them, the use of emoticons in there or emoji, in there, I think is a great post. I do a lot of threads like this on Twitter. I
Mm.
share,
I've
I
seen
should
those.
think about it. I shouldn't share how I build a content plan because my competitor could use it and then go take my clients from me. It's not the case.
If that was the case, they'd be doing that anyway. So they'd build a content plan and then go steal your clients. But I actually
You'll
think.
probably find Barclays content managers are probably looking at that and nicking it.
But no, but that's sort of my point. Is when I saw this, I thought this is fantastic. They're being very open and honest with this. But I can guarantee you, other banks will not be able to, like bricks and mortar banks, Barclays, Lloyds. They won't have the speed with which to adapt this. It will become laborious. Yeah, it'd be corporate. Trying to say to your line manager, I want to take out 20 customers who are advocates clearly of us. I want to take them out for a beer down the road. Can I have a £200 budget for that? Would you have to get that signed off by the CFO? What? It would never happen. These things never get off the ground in big companies because there's too many walls. So I think it's fantastic these guys share this stuff, and then because you just know it's never going to get executed. And my personal view on this is from my market research background, is that the type of research these guys are getting from these engagements, and bear in mind, trying to get someone to complete a survey is a bloody nightmare. Actually, if you've got someone super engaged, and I'm saying to you, will you please tell me what's right and what's wrong about this product? I'm going to get an honest review and I'm going to get an answer from them. Whereas I know that Barclays, HSBC, these guys are huge market research budgets to go out to audiences across the country to get a very beige view of their products and the world. And that's costing them hundreds of thousands of pounds every year. whereas these guys have been getting some seriously good responses to people who are
They're also
using the
like
app every day.
generational thing, I think, with those banks. So you're going to have your old school people like that. I mean, there was an interesting thing that was on a Slack channel. They were talking about like the old school banks, the facilities that people go in there. They were saying there's a certain percentage of older people used to like to they like to go to the bank because they want to talk to. They just want to have a chat.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
they trust their banks and they're established. You can't expect a previous generation to us to suddenly say, what, this bank has no offices. Like, do you know, what, you think they post cool content? Why would I sign up for them? I just want interest rates or something like that. Whereas this other generational thing, like let's say going back to my generation, your generation and things like
Mhm.
that, we have other priorities. I want to know that my bank's got good functionality. They're tech savvy. I can plug that bank feed into my other tools to do stuff with it. I can, and
I
it's, yeah.
I want to go. I want to go for a walk in the park and do my banking at the same time. I want to ask a question to a customer service person on chat, and be in the park, not having to spend half my day going down to stand in a queue in the bank and
Leave,
trying to
you'll have
trying to
to
get an
leave
answer.
work because it's only open during office hours as well.
Of course, yes, of course.
So it's all, I don't, I mean, I always take the piss when I see some of the banking ads that come on, and it's a lot of them are playing catch up right now. I am terrified that one of these big banking chains buys up Starling, or
And ruins it.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I would hate it if I saw a Starling building down the road, or do you know what I mean? I'm like, no,
But
this is like,
that's what Metrobank tried to be, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and they just transformed. No, I agree.
Went into because it always looked like a cheap shopping center. I don't know
Uh,
why.
no, I'm with you. I never quite trusted them for some reason, and I don't know. I
Apparently
still can't get past that.
they were the best to get startup loans and good interest. They were very popular for a while in the UK startup scene because they were very good at funding people with very good rates.
Right.
Other banks wouldn't, and they were quite successful there. I could be wrong. I remember working with somebody and they were telling me about this. But other than that, I mean, yeah. The scary thing is because of the likes of the Revoluts and the Starlings, they're not established enough for like mortgages and all that kind of stuff yet.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
when they change that world,
Let me point it out this way. So this show is all about it's called the content review for a reason. So I see a piece of content, but I also try and relate it back to my world, marketing, etc., and some value in there. So I see the huge amount of value in here, but I also see how this stuff progresses and where the value comes from in terms of some of this functionality for for our industry, right? Because you're seeing something, and the bit for me that Revolut and Starling, they continue to bolt on functionality, and that means you just have more opportunity for content from their content marketing side because they've got more to tell the industry about. And they have that line in here: ask your customers what they want to learn about your industry. Now, obviously, if they're only doing banking, there's only kind of so much you can go. You can go for maybe 12 months and keep having something sort of interesting. But where they keep bolting on functionality for customers, you're going to keep having this need to educate the market around why their product is best. And that's why I love to see this type of way that it's
the
presented.
fact that they're sharing that roadmap, that those bolt-ons, you're going to be excited. You're like, mate, I need this functionality to run my business account. It's coming, and so
The biggest sorry to interrupt. The biggest problem with banks, from working in financial services, I know is engagement. The only time you engage with your bank is when you need to call them up because there's a problem,
yeah,
or
say that.
maybe you need to transfer some money somewhere that you cannot do online or whatever. And that's banking's problem for a long time, is when its engagement is touch points basically, and you don't have that problem with these challenger banks, or it's less of a problem because people care. I check my Revolut pretty often. I have friends who are on it, and I can transfer them money for dinner and things like that. They have many more touch points, and that's where content marketing is going to be so much more valuable to these types of businesses because they have that relationship with the customer, and they're obviously leveraging that by rewarding customers by saying, as you said, the roadmap, by having meetups, by basically just investing time in
Their
those customers.
content has to continually not educate but inform, keep people in the loop. They have to do that because they probably, being the newcomers, probably don't have the marketing budgets that someone like these big boys do. They will eventually, because is that Starling itself, like I know somebody who works at the agency that looks after Starling and things like that, and they're just boom, through the roof, like doing really well. But they also know, and Revolut as well, who Revolut, they're based on investors. Investors came in, got some money, set this all up. Now they want to get the word out. Revolut had some flack back in the past about some charges. I think it was something dodge about Revolut or their working condition. I can't remember what it was, but it was handled. They were transparent. They, but you wouldn't see HSBC doing that. You wouldn't see them, like you were saying earlier, just going on and pushing out some content like, "Hey, sorry guys, we screwed up. Hey, it's
Yeah,
going to be more like if you look at clause 221/A, and you know what I mean, like."
it's exactly the problem.
That's the other thing as well about these banks as well. Go and look at their terms and conditions and their guides, and it's hardly lawyer speak. I've noticed it's very layman's term stuff. Again, we're talking about the brand, but we go back to the content. That post that you showed,
Mhm.
for me, that's it's not posting for the sake of posting. They're showing you, here's what we're learning, here's how we do this stuff. It's very meta because it's the social media guy talking about how he does social media, and you know what I mean, like.
But that's the level in my opinion, that's the level it should be. You should be getting people at the top unafraid to talk about their strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. And be open about it. There's nothing he's giving away there that you couldn't work out for yourself. If you sat down with a pen and paper and went through everything they did
Yeah.
online, just reading their website and blogs and whatever, you could work it out. But the point is, he summarized it there and has got ahead of the curve and said, I want to tell you guys about this thing. And I respect them all the more for it.
I didn't
And
see how is that post doing?
I didn't see. I don't. So it's got 675 likes and 33 comments.
Now, from a bank, do you know what I mean? Like, in comparison, like it'd be.
Oh,
That's
that's a good comparison, actually, because I hadn't really put into that context of a bank trying to get engagement online, especially LinkedIn, because that'd be
bank's gonna post on LinkedIn, "Hey guys, our new business account has an interest-free rate," or blah blah blah, and everyone's like, "Sweet, move on."
Yeah, next.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. So for me, and just on that note, this is not sponsored by Revolut or Sterling Bank for that matter. I'm gonna have trouble with the
your account details and.
so for me, as I said on this show, it's about content review. So I have to always try and bring it back. But that for me was a great piece of content I'd seen, and it had a real world application for a lot of marketeers out there who were trying to be doing this sort of activity and just looking for a guide. I would take this myself and go, actually, that's a really good guide.
I would recommend to your listeners or people watching the show, seeing the example, is to embrace that sort of posting. And especially, I know this was LinkedIn, is to start doing threads on Twitter, and every tweet that goes under that thread is you're giving information to someone that's going to make either their day better, more knowledge, or help them achieve something. Yeah. And you would be surprised the engagement you get, the audience growth you get. Just keep doing that on any channel for that matter. Well, not Facebook because the algorithm again, but especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn's quite easy to kind of cut through the noise, but that kind of stuff, brighten it up with some emojis or whatever it is, and just give punctual stuff. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how you can do it. Do you want more of this? Here, you can get it here, and do that. And then later say, I need your help. And the return is insane.
I have to say, you're absolutely right. Give, and then ask. Yeah. And as the last point says on this guy's post, avoid burning cash on ads. Remember, your customers are your biggest marketing channel. Help them tell their friends. So that for me is outreach marketing, right? So, but avoid burning cash on ads. This is exactly what he's doing here. He's not spent any money on that post and just shared it amongst people on his network.
Would be interesting though, not to shoot them because I've just been praising them, that if we were to run some checks, that they probably are running some paid search. They probably have a couple Facebook ads out there.
Naturally.
He might be referring to not running on LinkedIn, which is a good shout because LinkedIn is overpriced and performs crap. So
there it is.